You're muted. I can't hear you.
Did that work for you?
Let me see. Yep, I can share.
Okay.
Awesome. We are going to share screen one. Share. Okay, so now you can see my calendar. So we'll stay over here. Okay, state convention folder. And I know you all love to hear me talk about the Google folder, but there is a lot of things in here. So we're going to walk through it. General state convention things to note for future conventions. Our future convention dates for the next 4 years, this year plus the next 4, are already determined. So if you're looking at what are the convention dates going to be going forward, those are on here. So feel free to take a look at those. Next 5 years are at Deschutes Fair and Expo Center. Layla has put chapter books and national chapter materials here in our general state convention folder, as well as the talent registration form. So all of those materials can be found directly there. But as we specifically look in 2023, there's quite a few documents in here, and I'm going to highlight a couple of them as we go through this. Number one, the convention schedule. During convention, once you arrive and you'll get your chapter registration packets, which we'll talk about here in just a few moments, the chapter programs will be in there. But we did include a QR code this year. One of the things we heard last year was a QR code. So if there are schedule or room changes, that students can get those at their fingertips. So we did include a QR code in the convention schedule book, the program, that has the link to this schedule. This schedule is 100% updated as of today. There haven't been that many changes since we printed it. So really it is the same thing that is in the program, but we wanted to make sure that students, advisors, guests, anybody who's interested has it electronically as well. And so it is there, it is available. And it has everything from every single room that we'll be using and what's happening as to our order drawings, what's happening in convention sessions, and then where you're going to find everything. All of our various workshops are listed on here as well. So even as through this Zoom call, as we talk about the different things, they're all on this schedule as well. So want to make sure that you all know the schedule. We have it split out by day and then by time. You'll always find us in the morning and work our way through. We do try to label it as we go through, so it's pretty easy and user-friendly to use. But convention schedule, probably one of the most important things you'll use. Our students, again, will have access to it electronically through a QR code within the program. We do start Thursday afternoon and end on Sunday afternoon. Registration. So many of you have already registered. If you haven't, or I haven't received your re-registration, you got an email from me today. A couple of things I want to just quickly note. For chapter registration, if you have deletion, name changes, or additions, you can still make those. Registration is not closed. So names and number of student changes are completely fine until this Friday. Until this Friday, you just send me an email with those and I will make those changes for you. If you're dropping students, we will give you a 50% refund on each of those students you drop. If you add them, we just charge you the same. There is no additional fee for having those added. After March 11th, you'll bring your changes to convention. And that is strictly because as of Friday, we will be doing all the registration packets before we load the U-Haul on this weekend to head over to Redmond. So after Friday, if you have any changes, you will bring those to Redmond and you will work with Beth and Deidre and Ellie in the office to make those changes as we are there on site. For chapter registration, those will be picked up on site Thursday afternoon of convention. And you'll come into the Middle Sister, which is the first building there on the convention center grounds. You'll check in the Middle Sister East Lake room, which is the same room we've been in for a number of years if you've joined us. You'll check in there, you'll get your bag full of materials, lots of updates and flyers, as well as documents in the bag, as well as all your convention buttons, programs, stickers, those types of things. Layla will also have registration for proficiencies, Agri-Science Fair, National Chapter, and Talent taken at the same time. So there'll be an area to turn all of those pieces in. If you're turning in CDE materials, that will also happen at that same time based on our revised CDE pieces as when those are turned in. So make sure to check that out. If you have chaperones that are attending with you that you've included in your chaperone count in your chapter registration, simply either email me the chaperone form or bring those with you to convention. Either is completely fine. Otherwise, if you have parents that are attending or younger siblings, grandparents that are attending convention as guests, this guest registration piece, you can copy and send to them so that they have that. You can post it online, you can post it on chapter website, on Facebook. It is out there. It is on the association Facebook page as well, for guests to complete registration. That is through our Square site, where they can either do a complete package or a daily registration, and they'll pick those directly up in the will call booths at convention. We will not be mailing them. They do not have to come early. Whenever they get there, they'll just simply go to the will call ticket booths at the very front of the convention center and pick those up there. They just give them their names and they'll have them ready to go to hand out. We will have security on site. For those of you that did convention with us last year, you know that we have convention at the front, security at the front gates. And so everybody will need their either convention button on themselves to get in the gates, or if they're doing daily registrations, they'll have wristbands for certain dates. So they'll need to make sure to have those registration credentials to get through the gates of security. Security will not let you through if you do not have them. So please, please, please remind your students of those and make sure that they have those with them. Career development events happen entirely throughout the entire convention. As we briefly looked at the schedule here a little bit ago, they're spread out kind of all over. So as your students are doing those, we do have advisors assigned to each of those. We are still in need of just a few judges. If you have folks that are interested, please let me know, and we can hopefully fill them in if they're interested. I believe Layla is still looking for a couple more for agri-science if you have folks that are interested specifically in agri-science. And we do need about 5 folks between job interview and ag issues on Thursday afternoon for prelims. But otherwise, judges have been great to get filled in. We have a lot of new judges this year from different stakeholder industry partners that we work with on a yearly basis. Sessions, all of our convention sessions will take place in the First Interstate Bank Center. So as you come into the fairgrounds, big, huge building in the middle of the fairgrounds. That's where all of our sessions will take place. Our convention program and our convention schedule detail the time that the doors will open. We are going to do our best to make sure that doors open on time every single session. It's always a little iffy at times, but we are going to try our best. So don't have your students go wait for 30 minutes in line. There's plenty of seating. We have moved our stage. We have changed the setup. So if you remember last year or even previous years, we've been at Deschutes, you've walked into that building, gone down the steps to get to the floor, and then you've gone to the left. We'll no longer do that. You'll walk into the building, you'll walk down the steps, and basically run directly into the stage. We are now center court instead of being at one of the ends. So we have a bigger floor seating, more chairs on the floor, as well as a larger bowl that is actually closer to the stage if we need to utilize that. There will be first and second floor seating. So if folks would prefer to be up top, they are more than welcome to be, but we will have more floor seating available for members and our partners that will be in attendance. There is a huge list of reserved seats. During every single session, anybody who's going on stage has reserved seats. So if you have students who made top 8 in finals in any career development event, speaking event, those types of things, they will all have reserved seats. So you're going to find those on here. So if I look at Thursday, we have reserved seats for our top 8 Creed speakers. Those are the first and second place from every sectional event. We have reserved seats for retiring address introduction speakers, our thank you speakers. These are students, our guest speakers, our national anthem singers, our foundation partners. Thursday, if you have individuals who are receiving a blue jacket from AgWest Farm Credit, they will have reserved seats. So every single one of these students has a reserved seat. And then our state officer families. As we go through the rest of the sessions, again, anytime anybody, adult or member, is going on stage, they will always have a reserved seat. And so that's really so that we can get them on stage, backstage in an efficient manner. You'll note if you're receiving Superior chapter, it's one chapter representative from each of the chapters. And so we've got those listed here. There will be a seat placard on every seat that has either a chapter name or an individual student name. Kaylee, great question on your Blue Jacket nominee that won't be attending convention. That is completely fine, because I know you're telling me that right now, but because in general, I wouldn't know that, they're still going to have a seat. It'll just be empty. So nobody will sit in that seat. It's not that big of a deal. Same with state degrees. So every single one of your state degree recipients, as well as your proficiency district winners, will have reserved seats. More details will be given on those two during the proficiency and state degree practices. I cannot stress the importance of attending those practices. And if your state degree and or proficiency representative is not able to be there, at least have somebody from your chapter there that is there for them, so that we can make sure they stay on the list. We will not keep students on the state degree list that are not there, just based on trying to get through the list and get everybody on and off. So make sure to have either representatives for students or have those students there. State degrees, while I'm there is a reception for state degree recipients. There is a folder. There is a flyer in the folder. There is a small state degree reception from 5 to 6 p.m. on Friday. That is right before the ceremony. So we chose to do it right before so that parents and state degree recipients can come to the reception, take photos, celebrate what they're achieving, have some ice cream, and then go directly to their seats. So they actually will be in the session hall before doors open. They can feel free to bring a parent and or advisor. We're just asking that it all be adults. We're asking that a member not bring another member with them, but just bring a parent or an advisor with them to that reception if they would like to. Otherwise, they're more than welcome to come on their own if there's a group from your chapter and they'd like to. Callie, I saw your question about state officer candidates. It's going to depend on their schedule. Every state officer candidate has a little bit different schedule in regards to what that looks like. They have all been sent a general schedule of what the entire week looks like. They'll get the day specific schedule the night before. So they can look at that and determine if they're going to be in interviews at that time, or if they will need to send a placeholder student to attend that. The next thing I want to cover is the Remind app. So we did, again, hearing from folks last year we did a Remind app for advisors. If you're not already signed up for that, this Remind State Convention piece, this first one is for advisors only. Please don't give this link to your chaperones or your students. This one is advisors. The next one is the one for chaperones, guests, students. And so there'll be some different pieces. The one for advisors, that is the one where we will be using to send out reminders or information. When we know who the top 4 Parley teams are, when we know which teams are advancing in ag issues or ag marketing, we will send that through Remind so that you guys all get that. We will not be sending that to the student one. It will only be going to advisors, which is why we're pretty heavily stressing. Make sure that you guys as advisors end up with the advisor only one, and you can give the students and chaperones the other one. We'll use the other one to do a lot of reminders for various workshops and different pieces of the things happening at convention. So reminders, updates. If we know that a door is going to open late, we'll send that out through that so that everybody gets those pieces. Hospitality room. So we are redoing the hospitality room a little bit this year, and you're going to notice that it is going to be in a different location. We put it in a bigger room. We expanded it to become a VIP lounge, not just an advisor's lounge. So it will include star partners who are taking part in our career show. So we have upgraded that lounge, both in what we'll serve in it and what snacks and lunches will be in there, but also to include our star partners who want the opportunity to just sit and chat with you guys as advisors on what is convention, what are your students doing? They don't really get that chance a lot of times. And so this is kind of their opportunity to mix and mingle with advisors. We know that for you guys, it's a kind of a down space and you guys get to have some quiet and grab some coffee and some food, maybe a little bit away from students. And so we want to honor that. And so we'll still keep this just star partners and FFA advisors, but want to make sure that you know that it's available. And we thank the Oregon FFA alumni and Swede specifically for putting that together and really making sure that it pulls off pretty well. Committees, we are in the process of finalizing the advisor committee assignments list. District advisors are finalizing putting chapter assignments on them right now. All advisors, or most all advisors, not every advisor has an assignment, but most advisors have an assignment. And so we have finalized the committees, the chairs and the assistant chairs have been labeled, and the advisors have been assigned. As soon as we get the final advisor chapter assignments done, we will print this for every chapter packet. So you'll get it in registration. And we just really quickly up here put the roles and responsibilities of both the advisors and the committee members. For the advisors, your role is strictly advisory. Make sure that the interview process is fair and has professional supervision at all times, and that the final decisions aren't compromised by other folks or other members, that every student that's applying for a proficiency has a fair and equitable chance at receiving that. And then committee members, so each of our chapters and each committee should have one district representative in each of them. They'll read the application, become familiar with the projects of the candidates. They'll develop questions based on the application and things that might need clarified, perform those interviews, and then independently rank them first to last. And then there'll be a compilation of those interview rankings turned in. Those interview rankings are then taken and put with the application rankings. So those of you that joined us this last weekend for application judging, thank you. Layla and I greatly appreciate that. We were able to get through all 100 applications pretty smoothly. So appreciate that. And so those interview rankings are put with those application rankings for the final determination. That list will be published in the Advisors Lounge for you to review. If there are things that you need to know, Layla and or the review committee will reach out to you directly. If you have a student that maybe won 2 areas, to find out which area that student will be going to nationals in, or other issues that may arise, Layla or the review committee will directly reach out to you for those. Layla, anything I missed on those ones? Okay. Workshops are the next thing I was going to quickly go over. So we have, I believe at last count, it's 32 workshops available for your students. We've tried pretty hard to put them in 3 different tracks. And to provide a pretty wide range of different workshops. So the different tracks are going to be SAE related tracks, leadership track, and then career tracks. So we tried to provide different opportunities for all of our different students that are going to attend the convention. You'll not only see a ton of workshops from our 10 visiting state officers, but you'll see workshops from Oregon State University, Purina, Wilco, Hoffman Construction has one, National Officers do, Ag West Farm Credit. We have fitting and showing demonstrations. We have some photography ones using smartphones and how to take really good photos just from your smartphones. Some different social media tracks, a lot of leadership ones from our visiting state officers. Ag in the Classroom has workshops. A lot of the partners that we work with on a daily basis. We've got some new ones this year, Intro to Ag Law. We've got some auctioneering type workshops if students have interests in those. So like I said, I think there's 32 different workshops over the span of 2 days. They will be in a variety of buildings. We did get the North Sister back. So last year we didn't have the North Sister. We do have that back, as well as, so we'll use the North, South, and Middle Sister for all of our smaller, more close-knit type workshops. If we have very large workshops, so our national officer workshops, our keynote speaker workshops, some of the workshops that we know are going to be very large in size, they'll take place over in the High Desert Activity Center, which is set up to be a much larger space. We have room for 300 in there. And then our hands-on workshops where we're bringing in equipment or we're going to bring in livestock, those will take place in it'll be the south side of the dairy barn. So we will be using the dairy barn again, but it will be heated this year. So we did figure out how to heat that building so that we can use that for workshops and nobody freeze. The other part of the dairy barn, so we are going to use half of it for workshops, and then the other half will be I guess we're going to call it a student hangout area. So we're working on finalizing exactly what that's going to look like. But we know for a number of years that we've used the South Sister with all the tables and chairs that are in there as kind of a hangout area for students. The issue we have with that is that's also used for a finals hall. It's used for agri-science fair. It's used for a variety of different things that happen. So we needed to move that hangout space. So we did move that hangout space to the dairy barn. We're going to try to put all the food carts that the fairgrounds is bringing in over by that area so students can grab food. If you guys are bringing food in, you can also bring that in, and then go to the dairy barn where there'll be picnic tables and there'll be different things going on for students to engage in during convention. We are working with our district officers to actually provide some activities, engagement opportunities for students directly in that area as well. Couple of reminders I have before I open it up for questions. Number one, all students should be in official dress at all times on the fairgrounds. And that is they must be in official dress to go on stage. There are no exceptions to that. So we would ask just in your help in ensuring that we can make that happen. Waivers, all of our waivers this year, as most of you know, are electronic through AET. So if you haven't done that process yet and you're struggling with it, feel free to reach out and let me know. I did send an email earlier today on it as well. But all students attending convention will need an electronic waiver through AET completed before they arrive on site. And that does need parent signatures. So make sure to start on those prior to going. It'll make life a lot easier for all of us. And last but not least, delegates. So later this week on Friday, we will be releasing a delegate orientation video. That video is our way of trying to orientate our delegates on what is their role as a chapter delegate during our state convention. And so we have a video that we're going to send out to everybody. We'll give everybody the link to. We will also send it directly to your delegates based on the email addresses you gave to me. That will go out on Friday. On Monday afternoon, all delegates will get a test vote email. So we will be voting for our state officers via Google Forms again, which is what we did last year. And we will send a test vote to all delegates on Monday. It'll probably be right about noon is my plan. If your delegates do not get a test vote by Monday at 2 o'clock, please let me know, because then we're going to have an email issue. So I want to make sure to fix as many of those email issues that we might have prior to state convention. We'll probably do a couple test votes that week, and then we will do another test vote as we get into the delegate session on Saturday afternoon. We do have a delegate session on Saturday afternoon where we'll introduce the candidates. They'll get the opportunity to meet them. And then our main delegate session will be Sunday morning, just like it always is, where we will vote for our state officer candidates. I think that covers all the main things I was going to go over. Questions from the group. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can actually see you all. Any questions?
Hey, Lee,
Yeah, Sandy.
on the guest registrations, how are those guest passes going to be received by the guests once they register?
So they'll be at the ticket booth at the front of the fairgrounds. They'll just walk up to the ticket booth, give them their name, and they'll have an envelope already ready to go with their name, with their packets, and their programs.
Thank you.
We're not going to try to mail them. There's no way that I could rely on the postal service to get them there in time.
All right, sounds good.
Any other questions? Oh, go ahead, Peyton.
Maybe I missed this prior, but my kiddo receiving her blue jacket, are they getting it on the stage or before, or?
So their blue jackets, they will actually get them before they go on stage. So when they go to sit in their reserved seat at convention, they will be on their seat.
Okay.
And so they will be able to pick that up, put it on, and then walk across stage with it. Every one of those individuals is going to walk across stage, get their name said, shake the hand of Brent Fetch, who previously was the president for AgWest Farm Credit, now working on their merger side. And so he'll be on stage with all of them. And then that jacket will be theirs from there on.
Perfect, thank you.
Absolutely. Is the chaperone approval form available? Yes, it is. There's a chaperone form in here. It's a PDF. And again, you can either have that completed and send it back to me either electronically, or you can bring it with you. It does need a school administrator signature. Any other final questions? Awesome. Well, it's been great. Hopefully everybody's ready, and we will see you all in just a little over a week. Bye.